People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a cold with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen.
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the PrimeTime Parlays. If you haven't liked and subscribed, you should by now, because last week, you guys saw, we hit the Thursday Night Football Parlay, and we hit the Thursday Night Football Lotto. Sunday, we hit the Sunday Night Football Parlay as well. Didn't do as well on Monday. But we smacked again last night on the live stream. So we're feeling pretty good, JJ. And we're going to keep it going today. We got Cardinals and we got the Cowboys for Monday Night Football. JJ, how are we feeling, man?
I'm feeling all right. We had some brutal beats yesterday overall in general, but I think, it's Monday. It's a new day, new week. Both of my arms still work, so, I'm good to go.
As bad as yesterday was, it can always be worse. So let's just
can.
remember that. Sunday Night Football saved the day. Let's have Monday Night Football save the week. Shall we start with some touchdown bets?
Start with it.
Let's do it. I hope you guys like the new layout so you guys can see the schedule over there on the side. We're going to start with some touchdown analysis. And like we said, we got the Cardinals and Cowboys. And one thing me and JJ like to do is keep it simple. What percentage of touchdowns are teams allowing as rushing or passing touchdowns? Even in games that are blowouts, teams usually score at least 1 or 2 touchdowns. Figure out how they're coming. You can figure out who to bet on for touchdowns. Like we said, today's Dallas and Arizona. We are sorting for teams that have the highest percentage of rushing touchdowns allowed. So if they're higher on this list, you want to target rushing props. As you can see, Dallas and Arizona are back-to-back as the 7th and 8th highest touchdown rate allowed as rushing touchdowns, which means we want to target running backs. For the Dallas side against Arizona, that means Javonte Williams. If you want to get really sneaky, you go with Jaden Blue. On the Arizona side, JJ, nobody wants to bet on Arizona to score a rushing touchdown. But if you were going to, which of the three-headed monster in quotations, I should say, are you picking in this one?
Yeah, it's going to be Bam Knight. It's honestly like you don't want to, but it is a simple read here. He's getting all the goal line carries. It's just that simple.
I agree with you because DeMercado, before the whole fumbling issue and then the injury, even then they said they want to use him as the passing down back, alternate Bam Knight, Michael Carter as the main back. And then earlier this week, they cut Michael Carter, brought him back to the practice squad, promoted him for, I assume, this game until Trey Benson comes back. Yep. But it sounds more and more like Bam Knight is the RB1 on the running downs, so he is the one I would bet on in this one. Which means that's who you should bet on, Bam Knight and Javonte Williams. JJ, shall we get into the rushing props?
We should.
So
go ahead.
No, you got it. You got it, please.
All right. When we're looking at the schemes, because, that's always been my thing. Both of these teams are man gap. So pretty simple. But Dallas, when you look at their defense is ass. All right. It doesn't matter if you're rushing or passing. It's ass.
Oh, yeah.
But
bottom 3 in like every category against man gap.
Yeah. But when you get to Arizona, like they're pretty average defending man gap, a little bit better. But like 50%, where is it at? Yeah, like 50% success rate on those man gap rushes. So, you can go Javonte. But I know you have some theories about that.
I do. So coaches have been hyping up Jaden Blue a lot in the media, and he's doing it for a few weeks to the point where I was like, okay, I think he's just kind of talking out of his ass, hyping up somebody who wants to keep his confidence up, even though they're going to keep giving it to Javonte Williams. However, the last 4 weeks, Jaden Blue's rush share has been increasing every week. It was 8%, then 11%, then I think 26%. I think it was 38% or 36% last game. Javonte Williams, on the other hand, even though the snap rate stayed relatively high, the rush share went down to 50% last game. Now, it was a game against the Broncos that wasn't going well, but it wasn't really a blowout that was out of reach until pretty late in the game, so I don't want to attribute it to that. I'm not ready to say you should fade Javonte Williams. However, with this matchup, not being as good as some people want to think it is, and this change in usage lurking in the shadows, I'm off the Javonte Williams train in this one. And if I were to bet him, which I'm not advising you to bet him. I want to make that clear. I would tell you to do the under. That's just my 2 cents. And I'm saying that as somebody who has him in fantasy, by the way. So I'm not excited about that. But that's my take on the Dallas running back room and the matchup itself. Anything else I'm forgetting?
Nothing else. I mean, we know on the other side, like Bam Knight's going to get all the rushing work as we talked about in the beginning of the show. Michael Carter probably gets some passing downs with Demercado as well. I think Michael Carter's had 3 games at 20-plus receiving yards. So it's interesting to note, but I don't know if it'll hold much weight here. But just something to note.
Yep. Serves as a good segue because one of the things about the Dallas defense is they're allowing a lot of yards and receptions to running backs, which if you can pick who's going to be on the field during the receiving downs, I personally think it's going to be Demercado. Then there's some upside there, whether you're looking for a sneaky fantasy flex to save your week or whether you're looking for some more dart throws in the prop department, but something to think about. Outside of that, JJ, I know you noticed some changes in the Dallas defense the last few weeks.
Yeah, I was texting you the other week, and I think it was 2 weeks ago. Dallas was running more man coverage. They've been running zone coverage at one of the highest rates in the league, like the first 6 weeks of the season. And then 2 weeks ago, it's like, okay, let's just run 50% man. Like, where did this come from? But obviously, their defense has been horrible. They had to change something. And I didn't know if it'll stick because sometimes it's just matchup dependent. No, it's back-to-back weeks they run a heavy amount of man. So I would expect some man coverage here again.
And whenever we see man coverage, we like to look at the outside wide receivers. However, in this instance, that is Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison is a great wide receiver. The issue is it doesn't seem like Arizona thinks so. So don't like betting Marvin Harrison. They don't like to get him the ball. But if he's ever going to have a big week, it's in this matchup against a team that runs a lot of man coverage, against a defense that is not good at defending the run or the pass. It seems if he's ever going to have a blow-up game, it should be this week. I'm not confident in betting that fact, but it is something that I'm willing to state. On the other side, we get into the Trey McBride part of the formula because with Brissett and Marvin Harrison both on the field, he still has, I believe it was a 35 or 36 targets per out run and like a 2.5 yards per out run. It looks really, really good. So even though man coverage, we normally target outside receivers, it's hard to deny that kind of usage. So Trey McBride, if that continues, is in for a very good week, and Jacoby Brissett has been absolutely peppering him with targets. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see that.
Yeah, it helps when your quarterback can see over the offensive line when he's sitting in the pocket. And it's funny, but it's a legit thing. Like Russell Wilson has had the same problem. Other shorter quarterbacks have had the same problem. I mean, just look. I mean, Dylan Gabriel is just not good, which is I don't know why he's still.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with height. Let's not even give Dylan Gabriel here.
Drew Brees is one of the few that made it work.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. But I was gonna make that same joke about Kyler Murray being short, but I was tripped. I was out of pocket, so I'm glad one of us did.
Yeah, but it's a real thing.
Oh yeah. Outside of that, Zay Jones is a popular topic of discussion this week. We know he's going for 60-70% route share. The question is just how often are they going to look at him over Marvin Harrison since they're both running more outside and deeper down the field work. The ones that get interesting to me are Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch because Greg Dortch does not get on the – Greg Dortch has had 5 total routes in the last 2 weeks with Marvin Harrison and Jacoby Brissett on the field. So I think he's the odd man out in this equation.
Sometimes, I mean, somehow he just still gets targets, though. He's had 2 receptions in every game.
I think it's designed. I think it's like the whole Brashard Smith in Kansas City debacle.
He's like a super gadget receiver, so.
It's like what Rondale Moore was supposed to be when he was drafted.
Yeah.
The other side of the ball, Arizona defense. They also make this analysis really easy because they play a lot of too high, which keeps the middle of the field open, which means they are terrible. I mean, atrocious against tight ends and slot wide receivers. And on top of that, against wide receiver ones, they are, I think, 8th most targets allowed and 3rd most receiving yards allowed. If the wide receiver one gets a lot of work and slot receivers get a lot of work and the middle of the field is open, the one guy that hits all 3 of these points, probably the most in the NFL, is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is in an absolute smash spot, in my opinion. But on top of that, there is George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. So, JJ, where do those two fall in the equation of the receiving game here?
Yeah, I think you just got to go to CeeDee Lamb here. And then, like, when it comes to Jake Ferguson, I think his splits are a little bit different when you go single high versus too high. But when I was looking more into it, Ferguson's one of the top targets in their offense for play action, but Arizona is very good at defending play action. I think they're the best in the league right now. If not, they're going to be top 3 for sure. And, makes it a little difficult to go to Ferguson there. So you got to go to your go-to target here in CeeDee Lamb. I mean, Arizona is a pass funnel defense, so I think they are just going to be airing it out here, honestly.
I agree, and I'm kind of nervous for the George Pickens side of things because they don't allow a lot down the field. They run too high, which inherently makes the deep ball, it hurts it a little bit. But they also, the ADOT that they allow, it's not high. The deep target rate, which is 20 plus yards on the field, very low. So if Dallas is going to want to get George Pickens involved this week, they're going to have to draw up something differently than they normally do, which is very, like, it is a reasonable expectation to think of the coach. We know how much they like George Pickens. They're going to want to get him involved. But as far as the role they fill, the part of the field that they line up on, what they tend to do, it significantly favors CeeDee Lamb over George Pickens here. I think of his 18 targets for CeeDee Lamb since he came back, only 3 of them have been 15 or more yards down the field. I don't need to tell anybody that's watched George Pickens play that he's on the opposite side of that metric. So CeeDee Lamb all the way. George Pickens I'd stay away from as far as a deep target level. Maybe if you think the coaches do scheme it up, you can take receptions instead. I think that's everything that we needed to cover on the passing side, JJ, unless I'm forgetting anything.
Yeah, I mean, just the only stat I'm throwing in there is the deep throw percentage. Arizona allows the tie for fewest in the league. So, yeah, George Pickens is going to be tough here.
Love it. All right, real quick before we get into what the parlays look like. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. If you guys want access to our new website that you can use to research prop bets, you can go ahead and scan that QR code on the bottom right. And as always, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing so you get all these in the future. Turn notifications on so you get the notification whenever we post a video and you don't miss it because like we said, we have been absolutely cooking. I'm happy to say that, and I don't want you guys to miss out on the next one. But you're here for the parlay most likely, and that's what we're about to show you. So we'll get things started with the PrimeTime Parlay, the one that should be, I don't want to say easier, but the odds are a little bit lower. This is the main one. This is the one to focus on. We're going to kick things off with Arizona Cardinals alt spread plus 7.5. I know people want to take the favorite, especially if you're buying some points, you want to take the money line. However, with Dallas being so bad defensively and Arizona defending the run well and defending the deep ball well, I think this could be, we think this could be one of those games that just stays tighter than either team wants to be the whole way. And I think the Cardinals could absolutely keep this within a score. On top of that, we got CeeDee Lamb 7+ receptions. If you watched any of this video and didn't skip to the end, we probably praised CeeDee for half of it. So the matchup is just perfect. The usage is there. The only times he doesn't cover this line is when it's a blowout. Obviously, we're not expected to be a blowout because we took Cardinals plus 7.5. And the last one is Javonte Williams to score a touchdown because the Cardinals are the 8th highest percentage of touchdowns against them to be rushing touchdowns. DraftKings made the mistake again of allowing us to put a full unit on this. I don't know why they're letting me do that on the boost. They don't even let me do that on the straights. But hey, I won't complain. If they want to keep giving us money, we'll keep taking the money, JJ. So that's 100 to win $513 with the 25% parlay boost on DraftKings. And we also got a lot of for you guys. Javonte Williams touchdown. We already touched on that. Bam Knight, for the same reason we are taking him to score a touchdown, because Dallas allows a lot of rushing touchdowns, and Bam Knight should be the RB1, the guy that gets touches in the red zone if they get there. We're pairing those two with CeeDee Lamb and Trey McBride, both to get 8 or more receptions. The matchup's perfect for CeeDee, and Trey McBride just gets peppered with targets when Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback. 36% targets per out run. That's with Marvin Harrison on the field for that count. So that is plus $1,934. $25 wins $508. Obviously, adjust according to your own bankroll. Don't be irresponsible tailing any of these bets. But if we hit, we want everybody celebrating. So like, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment any questions or just hype up the community in the chat as well. We will see you guys on the next video. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck, everybody.